Hey everyone, Nico Play Nick here. So today I have a new video where we're going to cover a Sorc comp, and I also have a special guest, BamcoSpy in the Discord. I do a lot of theory crafting with him. He is a super knowledgeable player and one of the members of my guild. So he's going to be helping out with this deck build, and it's going to be fully focused on a free-to-play Sorc build for all of you guys. So hope you like it. Okay, so let's get right into it for the Sorc comp. So we're going to look over the units here. So basically we have 5 SSRs to activate the 5 SSR passive. And then we're going to also have 4 SRs and 1 R unit, making this a pretty free-to-play budget build that you can use. And a lot of these SSRs you can actually acquire as free-to-play. The first one being Miyuki. So Miyuki you can get on your day 8 as a free-to-play unit. She benefits from the AoE damage buff. She also fits for the damage passive to activate it for the 3 spell and light unit. So that's a perfect fit. Another one we have is Nicola, and she's going to fit in great because you can get her from guild coins, and Nicola is just a super strong unit. So she's someone you can acquire really easily now, especially with the Crusade mode that came out, so it's much faster to acquire those guild coins. We have Phoebe, which is not fully free to play, unfortunately, but she's $1, so she's not too bad if you can find a way to get the means to spend that $1. And the last one we have is Kasumi, but like that's more if you saved up your tickets for week 3 to pull for that Kasumi, but if you didn't, that's okay. We do have alternatives for you. And we're also going to cover Yuffie here, because Yuffie is the only one you can't really just get. She does have a banner on week 2, but you need her pretty early on. So, Bamco, do you want to talk about Yuffie?
That's right. Yuffie's probably the most important one, really, to get, because it all starts with her, and what she does is basically the identity of the comp. The comp is all about units buffing units, so that you have all these free stats on all of your units. And Yuffie's passive is probably the best example of that. She gives a flat 17% or 16.5% attack to your other AoE units. And it's just, you can't pass it down. Her board wipe is insane. It all starts with Yuffie, really, this comp.
Yeah. So you really need to reroll for her. If you don't, then you're going to have to maybe look at potentially some different comps, because Yuffie's kind of like the big anchor for this one. So let's look at some of the free-to-play units. Because actually, I'll just quickly say things you're looking at for your other SSRs that I covered. Miyuki's your Rage Down, and she, like I said, she benefits from AoE. Phoebe is going to act as a somewhat of a tank. You can use her to block because she reses. She's also benefits from the AoE damage buff, and she can also defense down. Nicola reduces damage resist. I did a whole reduces damage resist. I did a whole video on that. You guys can go check it out. I'll leave the link below. But she's also AoE and benefits from that buff. Kasumi is considered AoE. She benefits from that buff, and she can get to the leader really easily. Now let's look at Chio. So the reason you get Chio is, I'll open it up in the partner section, but she buffs all Sorcs in your hand and buffs your leader. So let's open it up here. Here we go, Chio. So when Chio appears, damage rate of all allied leader and all Sorc class partners in hand increased by 12%. So that's really awesome, because damage rate is really important. And if there are more than 4 Sorcs in your lineup, your damage rate increases by 15% for 3 rounds. So fantastic pick for a Sorc comp. The other unit, you can actually replace her if you don't have her. There's another unit that kind of does a little bit of that same thing. Is Mary. She's a Sorc, so she fits that slot. And when Mary appears, damage rate of all allied partners in hand increases by 15%, and her own crit rate is increased by 15% in battle. This is nice as well, because at the same time, it can benefit for the Miyuki, it can benefit for the Kasumi and all that, but at the same time, her stats are going to be much lower because she is an R unit. So just keep that in mind. But there is 2 options for that slot, and they both cover the Sorc side. Also, we're going to have Rikya. So Rikya is a really important unit. She fills in the spell and light kind of box of having 3 of them. She's fully AoE. She benefits from that. She can stun, silence. She can also reduce attack or reduce defense. One of those 4 things will happen which is great, offers a lot of CC for your team, as well as when you play her, she increases her health and damage rate by all the effects she removes off your team. So if an enemy Fenibith comes in and curses your whole team, she removes all of them and buffs herself, so she can be used as a tank, and she can do a lot of damage and CC people. So she's a super great option for this team. Bamco, do you want to take Ri and explain damage rate and why it's so good in Sorc comps?
Yeah, so Ri, in my opinion, is probably the best rare unit that we have in the game. Probably almost definitely the highest hitting rare unit in the game. Essentially, what she does is she has the damage immunity, which is really, really nice, and then she has a 280% multiplier on her skill 1, with then a chance to proc Frenzy, which then gives her 100% damage rate. And that's the important thing to note, the damage rate that she gets. Because what that does is essentially doubles her damage. Damage rate, I think you might have explained this in a previous video, Nico, but damage rate, essentially, when it's 100% damage rate like it is for Ri, it's doubling her damage. So her multiplier is essentially going from 280% to like 560%. That's absolutely crazy for a rare unit. And on top of that, she gets, I think, around 28% extra damage to Guardian units. So tanks, things that are going to be a problem for Sorcs, she deals more damage to them. Really nice unit, really good value unit, especially for a rare.
Yeah, exactly. And again, if you're looking for an upgrade for this team comp, you've been playing it for a while, and you're looking to spend a little bit because you're a Dolphin, a good upgrade for this is picking up Shiki in the Battle Pass. She's pretty much an upgraded version of Ri, so it's around like $10 or $14, and then like $20 for the more expensive one, but you'll get a copy of her. So that's an easy upgrade you can do to this comp if you really like the playstyle. The last unit we're going to look at is Annie, and I think Bamco, you could explain this one really well as well for why we'd want to use the SR tank over a bunch of the other tank options we have in the game.
Yeah, that's a really nice one actually. I did mention before that this whole comp is kind of about getting all these free stats, all this free like AoE damage that we get from the Yuffie passive. Well, we get something similar from Annie. We get free damage resist from Annie. So Annie, if you have 5 sorcerer units, Annie essentially gives your units damage resist, 30% damage resist, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
She also gives herself damage resistance.
No, HP.
HP, sorry, making herself tankier.
Yeah.
But if you look at this comp holistically and look at all the free stats they're getting just from being buffed by things like Mary, by things like Yuffie, and now by Annie, it's just free stats, free damage, free living, essentially free tank stats. And you can even combine it with things like Shiki. We know Shiki has damage resist when she gets stunned. You can add 30% more with Annie.
Yep.
I think there's one more unit that we haven't touched on here, which is Nina.
Oh yes, Nina. Okay, the big one. Yeah.
Nina is also insane value for an SR. Obviously, she can go to SSR. She can go all the way to 6-star, isn't it?
Yeah, she can go all the way to 6-star. Not currently with the content we have, but she will be at one point when they add more stories.
Yeah, so she already does, quite frankly, for even at 3-star, enough damage. More damage than some SSRs. She gets the damage rate on her passive, which we just explained. That's huge. Damage rate is calculated after attack and armor.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really big. And she also gets, I think it's like 17% crit on her skill 1, which is really, really, really nice.
Yeah, agree.
And look, if you wanted to throw in a Hataru in here somewhere, maybe instead of Kasumi, if you don't have the Kasumi, you could do that.
Yeah.
You can get it from the seed token, choose another free-to-play option.
Yeah, so options for that last slot, if you don't have the Kasumi, I don't know why I clicked summon there. Let me go into the team comp for you guys so we can all look at it together. If you can't get the Kasumi or you don't have it, we still want to try and get the 5 SSR buff. So options you could do is if you pull the Hataru early in that free-to-play banner, that's an option you can do there. And you can also put in your Saya. Saya can get her SSR and she's going to fill that buff up. And she's a really great unit to have. She can insta-kill those invincibility units. Like stuff like Shanty, stuff like Selena as well. And so because of that Sekal, it's just a fantastic unit to have, and she fits the SSR buff. I talked about the Shiki upgrade. If you want to run the different passive, the crit rate passive over here, all you need to do is take out Rikya and replace it with Anne, and it will do that for you right there. and now you have the other passive activated. And Anne is a fantastic SR unit, buffs damage rate up and damage resist up. So kind of doing a little bit of the opposite of Rikya. Rikya is nerfing the other team and will buff your team. So again, playing with that theme. So yeah, is there any other little tidbits you can think of for this?
Look, I'm pretty happy with this team. I think most people are going to have Shiggy, so they can probably slot her in.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about any of the energy cost restrictions, like being under 14 or over 14 with this comp. You're fine on that front. So all you've really got to worry about as free-to-play is getting those 5 SSR slots filled.
Yeah. And you can do that super cheaply, like we said. It's they're actually really cheap units to acquire. The only one is you really have to reroll for Yuffie is the only big one. So yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
So awesome. Yeah, that covers the Sorc team. So if you like this, just leave a comment below on what future team comps you'd like to see. And if not, I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.